Welcome back to another brand spanking new episode of the Order of the Blazing Horse, your only Detroit Pistons podcast based on a mystical prophecy. I am one of those prophets, one of those boys touched by a horse in a very appropriate, consensual, age-appropriate, third eye, ethereal, warm, blazing touch in these cool temperatures out here in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Harry Morrow's joined as always by my co-host on the West Coast, staying as warm as that butter on your breakfast toast.
It's me. It's Mickey Jacobs. And I will say it gets pretty chilly in the morning and at night. It's dipping like below 50. So, you know, pretty bad here too. You know, I relate.
It's pretty cool. I'll admit it. Shout out to Ampersand. Showed up in the chat before the show even started with the Blazing Horse, the courtside seats. Happy to have you here. Mickey, how you been, man? I feel like it's been a minute since last we spoke. It's been 3 days.
Yeah, we're addicted to podding. We're about that pod life, huh? We three pods in a week.
Horse pod challenge.
Yeah. Horse pod challenge. I'm great.
The Pistons are top the East. They're the second best team in the entire NBA. They are number one in the power rankings on was the NBA.com. Was that our boy John?
I think so. I know it was also USA Today for
USA Today. But I like that. Ibrahim says keep an eye on Peyton Watson. Mickey's been keeping both eyes on Peyton Watson, both hands on his quads because he has been enjoying the ride. In fact, you would love us to make an offer to RFA Peyton Watson, I imagine. Is that right?
Yeah, big time. And I know the Nuggets would love to retain him, but they can't retain everybody. They can't retain Aaron Gordon, and I don't think they can pay both.
They're probably going to get rid of Cam Johnson. If that's my guess.
Sure, but who I don't think is making a ton of money, and they also have Bruce Brown, who I don't think has been that. They would probably dump THJ and Bruce Brown. You would try to make Peyton Watson work, but with us, he could start. And get serious minutes and be with a point guard who loves just the assist leader of the league. Not a big deal. Just assist leader of the league. Just say that a couple more times. But yeah, no, a guy like that would be great if and when we start to look for the PF OTF, the power forward of the future.
Ooh, I like that. PF OTF.
Yeah, it rolls like, right off the tongue.
Like a stubborn British guy.
Really good.
Shout out Richard DM for it. Sub count going up. Good work, guys. Thank you very much, Richard DM, for it. Really happy to have you here. And we're also happy to hear what y'all think, what our next group of players that we're going to discuss is. Before we do that, we're going to get into OG says the Pistons will, in all likelihood, act as an over-the-cap team. Watson would almost surely be a sign and trade, which will go nice into this. Make sure to give a thumbs up, y'all. Harry and Mickey are killing it over here. Thank you, Ampersand. We love the chat. The chat is so great. We are so gracious for our chat. I love my curvy chat. If you guys are curvy, all for it.
It makes this so much fun. We talk about it all the time. We look forward to it. It's a blast. You guys make this fun. We like bouncing ideas off you. We love hearing what you got to say. It breathes life into the pod. We wouldn't be doing this 3 times a week this week. That's not a standard we can maintain, but we wouldn't be doing it if we weren't having a blast.
Oh yeah. All my homies in the chat, all my homies hate ice. Shout out Larry Nance Jr.'s t-shirt.
Hell yeah.
On Instagram. I did cop one. Go for it. Donate it out. So into our next segment, we're looking forward into the future here. We are looking to see who the Pistons should get on this team. If they make a move, will they make a move? They'll probably make a move. What we've done is we've created this like database, I guess, or this collection of 21 names that we've heard most rumored to the Pistons or fans talking about the Pistons, any of that sort. Essentially, we got 21 names that we've heard names bring up. Peyton Watson's not on there because we don't think he's going to get traded.
I've brought it up a lot. I think I might be the only one. It's not on the horizon.
I want it. He ain't going to get traded for this year, though, right?
He ain't on the list. He ain't on the list.
He would be high up, without a doubt. He would be high up.
White high.
But what we've done is we compiled this list of 21 names. Mickey and I ranked them. We're going to go from players that we are most interested in from least interested in to most interested in from the bottom up, starting with 21. And what we took into consideration was fit on this team, skill set, and the cost of acquiring this player to see if it would work out. Chat, if we miss some, let us know player names that you would like to see and where they'd stand out. And also tell us how you feel about their place in this order. Again, it's under 21. We're going to start at 21. That first name, we were both pretty low on this guy, is Luke Kennard, number 21. Mickey, why you had him at 21? I had him at 20. Tell me why.
I think he has a hard time staying on the court on other teams, and I just feel like he's a very one-dimensional kind of shooter. I think this could be guys like him could be had that might be more effective, and I just don't think they're going to bring him back to the Pistons. And yeah, it reminds me, it's like a worse Duncan, with who's not as big or good at cutting. And I don't know. I feel like he's not averaging. Is he even getting a ton of minutes on the Hawks right now?
I don't think so. Like, I mean, people are like, oh, Corey Kispert will just take over his spot. So, I mean, that tells you all you know about that.
Exactly. It's like you get a guy like Corey Kispert, or like, I don't know if they've been playing great, but guys like Gary Trent Jr., or just movement shooters who run around a lot. And, it's not even that I think he's such a defensive liability, because he is, but we could insulate that. But it's just not, I don't want him taking away minutes from even Dennis, like.
I can't imagine a player whose minutes I'd want him to take away on the team. Like, when all the talk was about, like, we need to get a shooter, I'm down with getting a shooter. That can't be the only skill set, because if you just want another shooter, just make Ivy that shooter. He's shooting well enough. Like, he has a history of being able to shoot well enough. Let Ivy do it. What's he up to? 38% three on the season.
Shooting it really well. He's turning the ball over like
crazy,
quite a bit,
crazy. But like, I would rather get Ivy more acclimated and have him keep shooting the three than give up his roster spot for somebody who's not part of the future of this team who can just hit a three.
I agree.
Like, it's just,
I agree with that.
It doesn't seem like any point to me. All right.
Yep.
So number 20 on our list, and I do want to clear up something for OG. He asked if cost is including matching salary. Yeah. So cost takes into account like picks you give up, players you give up, salary you give up, and like chemistry you give up as well, I think. So like,
yeah,
all of that.
We tried to factor everything in. It might be a little more art than science here. We didn't have an algorithm. We're
creatives.
We're vibes guys.
Yeah.
You know that. You listen to Pistons Pulse, we're not come on,
we ain't stat trackers, baby.
This is, but we care, and we do take numbers into account.
Yep.
So
number 20 on our list, and I had him at 21. Mickey, you had him at 20. Jerami Grant. The people have been calling for the reunion of the Pistons and Jerami Grant.
Return of the Grant.
Once again. I do love that song. Shout out to Mark Morrison. Is that a name? I gotta remember, but whatever. Whenever that song's on oh my God, how am I blanking on the fucking FM radio station? The Bounce out in Detroit. I'm always feeling it. Or I guess it's maybe even on Oldies 104.3 at this point. Who friggin' knows? So Jerami Grant, the reason I'm not interested, the reason I had him so low is because that contract is disgusting, and not my kind of disgusting that's good.
Right.
It's so big. It's so massive. And like,
it's huge.
To get a guy like that who's on the downward trajectory of his career for that many more years, for that much money, is crazy to me. Absolutely crazy to me. How about you, Mickey? How you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm not into it. And it's also, I don't think we could get to that money without Tobias. And that feels really offensive to trade Tobias. I don't think we're trading Tobias Harris for anyone at the deadline, but I certainly don't think we're trading Tobias for Jerami Grant.
No, let Jerami Grant stay in the PDX. Keep Portland Grant.
They're always saying that there.
Let him stay right there. Ibrahim says that Kennard doesn't move the needle. Ampersand says we're not former D1 Hoopers. I did try to be a former D1 Hooper myself. I think I've told that Michigan State story before. If not, I'll tell it at the end of this pod again. OG says, I agree. Ivy is the right answer in the shooting, but he doesn't think JB will trust him in the playoffs. And he's out on Grant as well because the contract is negative for the stuff that we said. 100%.
Same page.
And I don't think JB will trust Ivy in the playoffs either. But Ivy can still come back next year on the RFA deal for like almost no money, and then you have a full year of him cheap as hell. Or you sign him to like a less than he expected contract, and then he's like a, I don't know, $20 million trade chip if you want. Or you got him coming back and playing well, and then he's a good player and a good contract. No matter how you look at it, moving him for a 1-year rental doesn't make any sense.
To that point, though, one of the key points of having a shooter is to be able to play them in the playoffs.
Absolutely,
so that's the point stands.
But if they're bad on defense, like you get somebody like you trade for like Luke Kennard is not like good on defense, would you play him in the playoffs in your little rotation? I probably wouldn't, unless right. I want better options out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna go to number 19. We both have this man at 19, and I think fans are gonna be crazy about us saying this. We got Michael Porter Jr. at number 19 as far as the candidates to be out here. Mickey, you want to start me out with why we have so low on MPJ, even though I think we've said it a number of times.
We've been pretty public about how we feel about MPJ. The fit makes a certain amount of sense. I do think it would cost Tobias. Not going to happen. I do think it would cost picks, and we don't like his vibes. We don't like his energy. I don't think he's the guy of the future. Like, would he make us better right now? Probably, but I think it really upends a lot of what we've got going on that makes us special. And again, we've heard that Tobias is so important to this team, so just feels moot.
My other question with this is, I know he's like a shot creator, but like, and I know he's 6'11", but Michael Porter Jr. is not a power forward. He didn't play power forward in Denver.
He is tall.
He's not playing power forward in Brooklyn. So is he going to play power forward for us? Like, is he going to be guarding Pascal Siakam and stuff? Is he going to be guarding Giannis and stuff? Or is that going to force Asar back to the 4 where that experiment hasn't worked all that great? Like, I get that the shooting fit makes sense and the creation fit makes sense. I don't understand totally the positional fit with Michael Porter Jr. and all the other stuff. Like, I just don't know, man.
Yeah, you know what I'll say though, and as OG unnamed YouTube user points out, 19 is pretty low. That's awfully low when you hear some of these other names that are coming. But yeah, I just like, I don't know. I will. One thing I will admit about MPJ is that he can create buckets for himself.
Yeah,
and this season I think he's been a better passer. Just like a number 2 creator, but so I get that would probably improve the team, but I just don't think it's worth the cost and the what it does to our culture and roster.
Right. The reason for me that it's so low is because the cost I think will be so great. Like, he is regarded by most
minimum.
Right. So you're giving up 2 first-round picks plus Tobias plus probably Ivy, maybe plus Ron Holland for this. Would you do that? There's no way. Like, there's just no way to me that when you think of this, especially if it's Ron Holland, the identity of this team, again, is defense. And I think Ron Holland is going to be one of the better defenders in the league. He's already kind of showing that right now.
Yeah. We were talking about Asar, and it's sort of like Duren. Duren is a good young center who is backed up by an amazing center in Stu. Asar is an amazing defensive wing who is backed up by a really exciting defensive wing in Ron. And you've actually liked Ron's spot 4 minutes. Yeah. So in terms of someone who could guard the 4, yeah, he'd be a big scoring punch for us, but it ain't worth it for the order where we got him 19.
And again, this is respectively, like, we're comparing all these options. So it's like, would we give up that much for this player who's kind of a big swing to get in? I personally wouldn't. And so that's where we're at. Let's move up to number 18. We're pretty similar on this too. I had him at 17. You had him at 18. That is Benjamin Mathurin. Benedict. How dare I? I don't know why I was saying Benedict. Benjamin but
Benjamin Arnold.
Benjamin Arnold. Ben Math is who this is. And I actually think like the fit isn't bad because he's a bucket getter. He can hit the 3. He does have dog in him. Like, he's got that shit talk in him. On the Pulse yesterday, Omari said something very funny. When they were talking about Bobby Portis, like, I don't know how many how many Pistons they can have that are all about the action. And I was like, all about the action is a great name for this era of Pistons. The all about the action Pistons.
I like that 30 for 30. That's a good.
That's pretty hot. So
hey, speaking of which, we got action Ron against the Kings. That was fun. We hadn't seen that in a minute. That was exciting.
He pushed Keon Ellis. Like it looked like Keon went flying like some Matrix ass shit. It was very fun to check out.
What is that GIF where someone just like completely folds like a chair, where they just like, he really, it was pretty funny.
I loved it. It was fun. Plus he left. He was like celebrating on the way out. Pretty good. But like, even though Benn Mathurin fits those, he's probably gonna ask for more money than we're gonna want to give him. He's got the same situation as Ivy. I wonder what the cost to give up to get him is going to be. I saw that the potential rumored trade was Benn Mathurin for Yves Missy with New Orleans. I don't know what the equivalent of that would be for the Pistons. Would be Paul Reed. Would you give up Paul Reed for Benn Mathurin?
Paul Reed is super valuable to this team. If anything happens to Stuart Duran, we need him. No, I don't love Benn Mathurin. He's a bucket, like, but I'm just trying to figure out sort of the archetype of player that he's going to become, because I'm getting, and this could be totally slander and tell me I'm way low on him, but you look at scorers off the bench, like your Jordan Clarksons, who are kind of cones on defense and not the best passers, and they just can score and they can get really hot, and he can get really hot. And he was really big in the playoffs last year. So I will give him that, because that's impressive. But I look at splits like, and granted, he's been injured this season, like 43-37. I mean, it's just not like, if he did like one other thing pretty well, I guess he rebounds the ball a little bit.
He does rebound the ball pretty well.
He does rebound the ball. Like that would be like the tertiary skill. Or the secondary skill, but I don't know. I just get like, it's just not the most efficient. And like you said, he's going to want money. And like, I think Ivy's having a more efficient season. So at that point, what are we doing?
Yeah. I kind of agree. And like in our chat, who brought Ibrahim brought us up that he's had real opportunity in Indiana this year with players injured to like come out balling, and he didn't super step up. So like, I don't know, like you're trading for someone like Benn Mathurin, you want them to potentially be potentially step up. And I think this year showing up, he isn't going to do that.
He had a hot start, but it just hasn't equated to winning. And it just feels like empty calories to me. Like I don't, getting buckets on a shitty team doesn't move me a whole lot.
All right. That was our number 18. Number 17, we're going to go with Pistons rumored to have been in discussions about Jose Alvarado. I had him at 18. You had him at 15. Why'd you have him at 15, a little higher than me?
Ball handler who plays defense. I feel like, I can pull up his shooting splits weren't great when I looked at them. So he's not the most efficient guy, but flashes of a Dennis Schroeder, probably not as gifted a passer, but I just also think Detroit would love him.
Oh yeah.
Like I think
Grand Theft Alvarado? No chance.
I think that would be sick.
Motorcade and Grand Theft Alvarado? It works.
It would be really fun. But he's had a lot of injury stuff. So that's a concern too.
I want to say with the injury stuff, if you go to Portland, or if you're playing, not Portland, in New Orleans. Yeah. Everybody on New Orleans has injury stuff, has always had injury stuff. Zion, AD, DeJounte Murray, Dyson Daniels was injured.
He talked about this.
Yes.
He said, he's like, there's something in the water there.
Yeah. And OG says Jose is listed at 6, but he's really 5'9". He's a little lad. He's definitely little. And ampersand, this is why I am so low on Alvarado. I don't think this is a position of need. Maybe I'm in the minority. I don't think I'm necessarily in the minority, especially of like fans, but everything that I've seen from Danis Jenkins leads me to believe that we have this backup point guard spot figured out. Watching him play, he plays like a professional. He's stepped up. People have brought up like, oh, he doesn't have any playoff experience. Not everybody does, but every opportunity that Danis has had to come into a bigger level and play at a bigger level, not only has he played admirably, but he has hit big shots in big moments. And it's been from 3, unexpectedly, it's been driving to the rim over Bam Adebayo. Like, the dude does stuff. He gets assists. He handles the ball well. He handles the pick and roll well. He shoots the three better than almost everybody else on our team right now. He plays good defense. Did you see that block he had on Sengun? Like, the dude is good. I do not think backup point guard is a position you need to fill on this team, personally.
That's a really good point. And I love me some Jankyard Dog. I do. And it's Danis. It's Danis. Don't get it twisted.
Don't twist the name. It's Danis.
It's Danis. But yeah, no, I want to see what he can do in the postseason. He has stepped up in big ways for us, and I think he's earned it. It would be such a slap in the face if we didn't convert him to a full-time player and then brought in Jose Alvarado. It feels very lateral, and I will cop to that.
To me, it doesn't make sense. And that's nothing against Jose as a player, because I think Jose is a great player, and I've always loved watching him play. I think it's fun. I low-key enjoy watching the Pelicans play sometime. I did watch the Pelicans almost blow that game against the Spurs and then come back and win. It was pretty fun. Also, I want to shout out leading Lions for joining the chat. I don't think we've seen you here before, so shout out. He does say motorcade and Grand Theft Auto. Alvarado is actually pretty cool. And Ibrahim says that Danish is blossoming into something special. So, we're all on the same page in the chat here.
Fan fave for sure, at least in my circles.
Yeah. We're all right there. And I know Richard DM for it is going to be pumped about this next one because he is what number are we on here already? How am I blanking on this?
Do we 16. Lump these next two into, or do you want to take them separate?
Let's let's lump them. Why not? Let's lump them. These are
the big names, guys. These are the big, and we got them low.
The reason I said Richard is be down for it, because he said earlier he cannot wait for 2-5 when they will stop talking about Markkanen and stop talking about MPJ. Well, this will be the last we'll talk about Markkanen, I promise. He came in at number 16 with Jaren Jackson Jr. coming in at number 15, and we're right on this edge. 15, 17, 14, 16, so right in that same wheelhouse. Mickey, explain why they're so low.
It's very simple. Both of them for different reasons. Absolutely fill position of need. I'm not trading Ron. That's kind of it for me. With Triple J2, it's the health and the contract, and with Lauri, it's the contract. I don't really care that he's not a great defender or passer. I don't really care that Triple J is not the most consistent 3-point shooter. They both would be very valuable on this squad. I'm not trading Ron. I don't want to trade Ron, and they're very expensive and prohibit us, I think, from paying Asar and Duran and eventually Ron and whoever else.
You'd have to give up Tobias on top of that. And you'd probably have to give up, OG said it, you simply need to give up too many assets for these players who are close to the same timeline, do fill a need, but are so expensive. And if you're watching the trade market and all the discussions about trades right now, the two things that are freaking teams out, I guess three things are freaking teams out the most. It's your inability to your liability. If you're a liability on defense, or if you're a liability from three, in the case of Ja and Trey, right? Their market is down pretty big. That is one thing that's scaring people. Another thing is injury history. Injuries are freaking people out. Look at AD. What is the AD trade market? We have no idea. Even Trey on the trade market, they're not getting back much. We're not seeing a lot of firsts for these guys. Third thing, monster contracts from not number one guys. Nobody wants to pay big money to their secondary or third stars anymore. It's over because the cap restrictions are so insane. These teams can't make any moves. They don't have the picks to go after anybody. They're begging for something, and they want you to get off that money. It's difficult with these teams, and the Pistons are in a very favorable situation there, which again is why the Asar contract, the looming Asar contract, is so great, because he's going to be one of our stars and not make as much money because the offense isn't really there.
Yeah. No one's saying they wouldn't add value. It's just very prohibitive at this point, especially when the young core is good and will need to be paid.
Yeah. So we're out on those guys, even though in a vacuum, they fit great.
No question.
It ain't a vacuum.
I like them. I like them
over here. Yeah. We were both gleeking for these guys earlier in the year where we didn't know about stuff all that much. This will turn the tide. Guess what? The tide already turned and it went past them.
Yeah,
right?
We're just making a couple tweaks. We're just putting on some touches, or at least that's, I think, sort of where we're at with this deadline and sort of what we've heard, which is very little.
From gleeking to tweaking is what we've switched on to. So we're on to that. So that was 15 and 16. Those two big guys. We've essentially got rid of like 3 of the 4 huge dudes that we're just not about. So now we're on to number 14. And this is a name that the Pistons were rumored to have looked at. He's a player on the surging Charlotte Hornets. It's Collin Sexton. And Mickey, you brought up Collin Sexton at the very beginning of the year as a player that the Pistons could look to potentially bolster their offense a little bit. And I think now people are catching up to you a little bit. I had Collin Sexton at 16. You had him at 11.
Yeah, I would not be bummed if we got Collin Sexton. Everybody talks about how we need players who can create for themselves and for others. He can do that. Is he, your second star? No, but would he be an improvement from Duncan at the 2 and send him to the bench and allow him to cook bench players? I think so. Right now he's averaging 14 and a half points in 23 minutes on 49, 38, 87 splits, almost 4 assists, like a little over 2 turnovers, and a stock. Like, he's not an amazing defender, but he plays hard. And look, I think we're getting into the realm of more realistic, and I don't hate it. How do you feel? Because you had him a little lower than I did.
I did. I don't hate it because I like him as a player. I really do. I enjoy him quite a bit. I would rather him on the bench, if I'm being honest. Like, if we didn't have Duncan Robinson and we had somebody else starting, then I would like I'd like Collin Sexton on the bench. The reason I'm not like so about it is this team has this opportunity to be very big while also being athletic, while also being like strong, right? So you can be strong, you can be fast, you can be big. I don't want to sacrifice that to take on Collin Sexton, who's like 6 feet tall. Like, I don't want to create a player to get hunted in the playoffs. Also, Collin Sexton has played how many playoff minutes?
Is it none?
It's 0.
Is it zero?
That's the.
So he's due, is what you're saying.
So is Danis.
That's
right?
true.
So
That's
like,
true.
so is Sasser. Like, to me, like, he's a player like Marcus Sasser who's had more opportunity than Marcus Sasser a little bit to like play in a bunch of teams and do stuff. I do think he's better. I think he's better.
I think he's better.
He's also on an expiring contract, and he's $19 million this year. So you have to give up something for him, right? You could send out. Yeah. I guess you could send out Karras, but then you're sending out a 2-year contract for a 1-year contract. I don't know why Charlotte would do that. So then you have to send out assets on top of it. So like, what would that be? Do you really want to sacrifice like Karras and Ivy for Collin Sexton, or Karras and a pick for Collin Sexton, or like, because you can't use the TP on him?
It doesn't sound great.
It's like I like the player. Again, I think the player's good. It's just in this specific opportunity, I'm not 100% with it. I think I would have enjoyed it at the beginning of the year, because then we could have like really seen how this whole thing goes for a full year and like made it work. But right now, not for me. How do you get Sexton, and who drops out of the rotation, Ivy or Danis? Like that's the thing. If you get Sexton, Ivy's probably done, right? Like,
that was my thinking. So whether it's a trade, he's in that trade for Collin Sexton, or just gets moved elsewhere in a playoff rotation, I think those are the minutes that I would want it taken, because I would still want Danis, which, saying it out loud, makes you a little smaller.
Right.
So, I mean, although he's only 1 inch smaller than Ivy, I will say, but he's also probably weighs a good amount.
I thought he was like 6 feet.
According to Google, 6'3".
Okay, well,
but I feel like Ivy's stronger than he is. But
Ivy's like, so, and I guess here's my other question: with Ivy, who has the higher ceiling between those two players?
Well, I think in theory Ivy, but this season I think the floor is a lot higher with Collin Sexton, and we saw how effective Cade was with a ball handler on the caliber of Dennis Schroeder, who was not having an efficient season. And Collin Sexton is a massive improvement from he's an improvement from Dennis Schroeder for sure. I think as a scorer. And I think he's like slightly worse as a passer.
Okay, so slightly worse as a passer than Schroeder. I personally consider Danis the Schroeder replacement, like just straight up.
That's a lot of playoff minutes, though.
I don't care. Like, I think when him and Cade play together, they play well together. Like, it allows Cade some off the ball moments. And like I said, I think Danis like has stepped up. I think he is a ready for the moment type of mentality, type of personality. I think he's got it in him. You want to talk about nasty dog? He is the nastiest of the dogs. He's talking trash to everybody. Like, it's just, I think he's got it in his bones where I believe in it. And so when I think about Ivy versus Sexton, I think Ivy has the higher ceiling, not this season. I don't think this season's going to go well for Ivy for the rest of the way, but I think he's easier to retain on a cheaper deal than negotiating with Sexton next year to come back and potentially be worse than Ivy. You know what I mean? Like,
right. No, it's a lot to give up for a rental.
Yeah.
Whether it's a pick or whether it's Ivy or whatever it is. I was trying to look up to see how many minutes Schroeder played in the playoffs.
I bet it was a lot. I bet it was a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Can we move on to the next one? Is that all right?
Yeah. Let's I think we covered him.
All right. Now we're down to 13. This is my last of the number 13 for me. It was my 13, you're 12. This player for me was my on the fence of how I would feel about it. This is the first one of like, maybe about it. Everybody else before, I think I was decidedly no on it. And this one, I think I'm leaning more toward no, but you could talk me into it. And that's last year's all-star for the Miami Heat, Tyler Herro. My 13, you're 12. Contract's good. Skill set's good. Mickey, tell me about it.
Yeah, he's played, I think, 11 games this season. He, borderline all-star, 22 points, almost 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 49-36-ish. Not great defensively, but is a guy who can create a shot. So I also just think like Detroit would come to love him. I can see Tyler. I don't know if he would love Detroit. I know he really likes Miami. He likes that warm weather, but but I think it would cost you, something in the neighborhood of Karras, Ivy, Sasser picks, like 2 picks, which, health permitting, I don't hate. I think part of what's so appealing to me is the contract.
It's so good. Was it like 30 million?
Let's see.
Exactly. He's like a 30 million expiring next year.
Let's see.
Well,
we've got 31 this year, and next year he's 33, and then he's a UFA in 27, 28.
Yeah. So that's a player that doesn't blow up your books. You can make a decision on next year. Right,
a bucket.
If it works out, is a bucket. At the very least, won't be hitting any backbreakers against you anymore in those close games that they seem.
He's got some sauce to him, man. He's got some personality. I bet you he would fit in.
Mm-hmm.
That's a guy.
Already has a relationship with Duncan. On top of it,
there you go. I'd send him to the bench.
And like 22 points is a good amount of points. Like he can score, and you need a player who can score, especially from 3. That's where he's got his history. And if it's not working out next year, 33 is a pretty good contract.
That's a movable contract. And, if you sacrificed Ivy, Sasser, Karras, it's like, I think that's worth it. The question is, how do you feel about the picks? Because I think it would probably be 2 picks.
I'd think about it. Like I would think about it, but like, to me, the injury concern is like,
well, and like, would you have him this year? Which is like, it's pressing, especially if you give up 3 of your guards,
right?
And
2 picks on top of that, right? Like,
right.
It's just,
you want him competing in these playoffs.
I think that's why I think I'm a pass on him, even though I'd think about it. If Trajan believed in him, I would consider it. I'd be like, okay, I would trust Trajan because he has done nothing but give me every reason to trust him so far. And OG says that he misses 20 games ish a year on average. 3/4 of the season's not bad. Like,
it's not bad.
It's really not bad for most players, I'd say. But like, it's still something to think about.
This season has been bad. This season has been the injuries have been really bad.
And so, like, you want to see how it goes. And like we said, he's also not a defensive guy. So if you're giving up 2 picks for defensive liability, it's like it's a little bit tough. But that's where we stand. Chat, I'd love to hear how you feel about the Tyler Herro to Detroit. Give me the other Miami card if they're selling. We'll get to it.
It's higher on the list.
Yeah. We'll get there. Number 12, the Dirty Dozen. The rumor just came in with him somewhat recently, and that was Herb Jones. I had Herb Jones at 10. Mickey had him at 13. a former Trajan Langdon darling out in New Orleans. He does have some injury history. He had one good year of shooting the three. He's okay at shooting the three, but he was also on Defensive Player of the Year watch, and he's a big old wing. Hero Stinky says
Smelly Garage Fluids. Welcome to the chat, my guy, or gal, or however you. I respect that. I it seems like the cost is prohibitive for a lot of people, but we moved on. We're in Herb Jonestown. Where you at on Herb, Harry?
I love Herb Jones. I've been for a couple of years. I was clamoring for him super bad, especially 2 years ago when the Pistons had no wings who could defend. I was like, "Geez, Louise, just bring."
Now
Herb
that's all we got.
to this team, right? Well, I don't care if it's all we got. They're the most valuable players.
You can't have too many defensive wings.
I think defensive wings are the most valuable players in the entire NBA, right? Like, look how much of a difference Javonte Green has made to this team.
Oh my God. He's
like
so valuable. I feel like I want Javonte playoff minutes.
I do too. Like he's a top 10 for me. Top 9 maybe, but top 10. So like if let's say you got Herb Jones and the cost for this would be what, like Ivy, the TPE and a first is maybe my guess.
How much is Herb making?
13. He's in the TPE. So you could absorb that contract super easy. And the contract after that is pretty good. He's not making a lot of money, not making a lot of dough. So then you have defensive wings, Asar, Ron Holland, Javonte Green, Herb Jones.
Nobody's scoring on that team.
Who? With Stu as well, with Cade as well.
Yeah.
So the hope then would be that Herb Jones is your 4 of the future and that his coming back to Fred Vinson gets his 3-point percentage up. But it's not like his 3-point percentage is that much worse than Tobias's right now. He just doesn't shoot a ton of them. He only shoots 4 per game. So you'd have to see, is this guy going to do? This would really have to be what does Trajan think? How much does Trajan trust him to do it?
So OG unnamed YouTube user says I would send Ivy out in a Herb trade in a second. Ibrahim says trade Karis LeVert. They're not going to take Karis for Herb. Like they're going to want something of value back. Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't really help the shooting woes, but if that's on the table, like you take it and figure the rest out later. But to be clear, that's not your last move.
Right. It's that's a small piece. So you can't give up too much for it. The real question is like, what's the cost? Smelly Garage Fluid says Herb is a good defender, but not elite. Pels aren't selling low on him, too expensive. That's likely the case. But we got to remember who's running Pelicans. So who knows? So Richard DM4 says you can't combine TPE and player salaries. We're not doing that. So the trade is you send out the TPE for Herb Jones, and then I guess you'd have to take on somebody else back if you're going to send out Ivy and a pick as well, right? So you get like Alvarado or like some other player that you're just going to like cut because Herb falls entirely in the TPE. So maybe it'd be the TPE in a first if that was the case. Karis, Ivy, first round pick, second round pick, Herb Jones, who says no. I mean, I think the TPE would come into there, but like, I mean, I wouldn't say no to that if it was Karis Ivy first round, because that's a consolidation trade too. You consolidate 2 players who are kind of clunky on this team, and you bet on a kind of young defensive wing. I'm for it, but again, he doesn't fill the shooting need that this team has. He doesn't fill the second scorer need that this team has. That's why he's number 12 on our list. But this is how OG confirms that we can do it. Like I said, where he comes in the TP and they get Ivy as well as like an extra asset on it. So let's move up to number 11 on our list here, and that is the guy we just saw in our last game against the Sacramento Kings, Whitney Rawls' favorite pizza guy, Malik Monk. Mickey, get monkey with me. Tell me about it.
The more we've talked this out, and I don't want to belabor this one too much because I know the fan base isn't super high on him. I feel like you're running into the same problems that you have with Collin Sexton, where, you're giving out value for a rental. And I like him. I like Malik Monk, but it's, like, would he help us? Yeah, but like you probably wouldn't start him, right? You would want him coming up.
You wouldn't start him. He'd essentially played the Malik Beasley role of last year, which is like your scorer energy off the bench, hitting threes on those catch and shoots. The reason he's not a rental is because he's got a contract for a couple more years.
That's true. But,
so if he's on this team, he's there for a little bit. Watching him play against us on Sunday, I was like, some of these threes he's hitting are awesome. And that dunk, oh my gosh, man.
That Monk dunk
dunking,
was sick. Yeah.
It was so gnarly. That's the type of word I like to use, as you know. That's the type of vibe I think the bench could thrive off of. So if you have Danis, Monk, Ron, Stu, Javonte, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, Monk has 3 years left on what's widely considered a negative value contract.
You're right. Yeah.
I think it's not going to be that negative in the future. It's a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but 2 years, 1 year, that's the type of the $19 million deal we're talking about is the type of deal that we're talking about giving to Jaden Ivey in the future.
Yeah. And you're right, by the way, I misspoke. He's not a rental. He's still got money. But, and in terms of the negative value contract, do you think, and I don't know how much Malik Monk you watch, but do you think he is $6 million better than Karis LeVert? I kind of do.
I do on this team. I don't think necessarily as a player, but I think on the role that this team needs, yes, kind of absolutely. So and again, I don't dislike Karis. I actually think the Karis signing was good. I think part of what looks bad about it is they were trying to go for Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and he's having one hell of a year. And if we had signed him instead of Karis, we probably wouldn't be talking about trades at all, is my guess. Because
no, we would not.
Yeah.
We would not. So, he's having a hell of a season, and he's a great two-way guard wing. Love Nah.
Mm-hmm. So Richard says he just doesn't think that shopping for guards should be a priority unless they're bailing on Ivy/Sass. I think part of this is we don't expect Ivy to be in the playoffs. Like, we don't expect to be part of the playoffs this year or maybe at all. So
maybe we buried the lead on that. That is sort of like the mindset that we have, that like the expendables this season. Like, I'm not saying I don't think Ivy's going to be a good player, but I think of the guys I wouldn't be heartbroken if you moved, it's Karis and Ivy.
Yeah.
And maybe Sasser. You know, I think I don't really want to trade anyone. I'm not saying I'm dying to trade those guys, but yeah, I'm not trading Ron, Stu, Paul Reed, any of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the 5 untradables are Cade, Asar, Duran, Ron, Stu. And then the players I would prefer not to trade are Duncan, Javonte, Paul Reed, Danis, right?
Yeah.
That's 9 guys.
I don't want to trade any of those guys either.
And then Tobias. I prefer not to trade Tobias on top of it. So, like, there's a lot. OG says he would trade Sasser because he thinks what would be best for him and his career. That's possible. That's for sure possible. Although I do think that if Sasser is the 5th guard in this rotation, like if he continues playing this role, he'll have a pretty successful career here as well. But I do think he could be like a 4th guard for some other teams. I bet like if the Minnesota Timberwolves had Marcus Sasser, he would be thriving like crazy.
Yeah, or like I think the Bucks too. Mm-hmm. Like I could see him on the Bucks or the Heat.
Yeah,
too. I just feel like that's just like purely vibes. But yeah, I also just I don't feel like granted he's been coming back from injury for a while now, but I don't think we've been treating Ivy like he's a core piece of the future. Exactly. Yeah. It hasn't looked that way. I mean, even when he's had good games, like you don't always see minutes in the second half. So I'm just, I think that's sort of like the mindset with which we attacked this list.
It's unfortunate that the injury and the contract situation have really thrown off his trajectory with this team. And it's not to say that it's guaranteed to be gone, but that's the reason that he's in these talks, because if you do want to make a trade, you have to trade somebody. Yeah. And I think when you're talking about players you trade on this team, there are like 2 that most people are talking about. And then like Sasser falls into the category of like number 3. Just because of his role. All right, let's move on to our number 10. We're at the top 10 going through this. Number 10 on our list is Moses Moody, who I had at 8 and you had at 14. He doesn't move the needle so much for you. Is that right?
Yeah. And it's just like a pretty inefficient guard wing. Like he sometimes shoots a 3 ball, I think plays okay defense. It feels a little lateral for me. Yeah. Like if you're trading, like Karis, like even Karis, it feels like a little lateral. Like
to me, if he's catching,
what do you like about him? Yeah.
His 3-point shot. Like he's shooting the 3 really well. I think his catch and shoot 3 is like 45% or something like that.
Okay.
It's really high. He's shooting 5 3-pointers a game. He's making them at a good clip. He's got good size. He's 6'5", so we don't
You're
lose
right.
size.
He's shooting almost 40.
Shooting almost 40. Good size. The contract is $11 million. Like $11 million over the next couple of years. So it's a good contract. It's good size. It's a good skill set. You probably don't have to give up all that much to get him, is my guess. So if we're talking, this is the role of like, if we're looking to get a guy who's just going to shoot the three, and you're moving on from Ivy, this is a guy who's not going to turn the ball over. He's turning the ball over like less than 2 times a game. I think like 1.8 or something.
He doesn't have a lot of usage.
Doesn't have a lot of usage.
But I mean, neither does Ivy. So
right.
He's still turning the ball over a lot.
Right. So. That's what I'm saying. So like, if you have a guy like that just shooting the three, great. So that's where I'm at on him. Nothing too exciting about it. Just a player who can hit the three on a good contract that's acquirable, who's got decent size. Ibrahim says that Paul George broke his leg similarly, and it looked like Ivy for half a season before going to OKC and being a top 3 MVP candidate. That's very true. Like you could give up on Ivy here, but you could also sell that dream to somebody else. So one way or another, the Ivy stuff is like, who knows how it goes. But if you want to win right now, you have to make some difficult choices, right? If you want to make a move to take care of business in the wide open East, I'd say in air quotes, because I actually think the Pistons have been the best team in the NBA for a good chunk of time recently. Why not make a move to shore up your team a little bit instead of waiting? Richard says they might trade Moody if you take Kuminga. I'll pass on the Kuminga situation. The spoiler, he's not on this list. But should we move to number 9?
Yeah, it's getting good.
It's getting good. And we actually had this guy higher. We were both higher than 9 on our list for this guy, which is funny. I was 7.
That's how things average out. It's just how things.
It goes a little lower. But that number 9 on our list is Bobby Portis, who does fall in the TPE. This is the guy who Amari said, can Pistons really have this many guys who are all about the action? And the 3 ball for Bobby Portis has been sick. I think it's like 46% or something. The defense for Bobby Portis has not been great. He also deals with some injury stuff a little bit, but he plays a lot of games. I think he just have a couple years left on this contract. So there is that. The question is like, how much of a slide we're going to take. And the thing for me with Bobby Portis, outside of being all about the action, which I do love, is that the 3 ball, like the big position of need, everyone seems to think that the Pistons have is backup 4, right?
I think it's like a backup 4 and like secondary creator. I think those are like the 2 holes that people want to fill.
And 3-point shooting on top of it. So this guy's backup 4 3-point shooter, and he fits the vibes of this team. So
certainly, and
he fits in the TPE. Like, I think that's good.
You trading a pick for Bobby P?
I don't know what pick. Like, I don't know what we talk about. I do the TPE in a couple seconds.
Yeah, that would be amazing if they are just like so desperate to get off people's money, but like if they're gonna just try and clear cap, wouldn't it be like Kuzma that they're trying to get rid of more likely? Like, or are they? This is all just like, are they giving up on Giannis?
So I think this happens one or 2 ways. One, they give up on Giannis, which some people think they should, some people think they shouldn't. I think it could go either way. Like, I do think the Milwaukee Bucks have an opportunity to potentially retain Giannis, get like another flashy player to join them, and like also get a good pick this year, because they're so bad. But let's say they trade Giannis, then it's a fire sale. Then you can get Bobby Portis that way. Let's say they try to get somebody who's got a big contract. Like, let's say they try to get Ja, and now you're sending contracts to match Ja's contract out. Bobby Portis could be one of those contracts. Memphis don't want that shit. Memphis don't want that contract. Memphis, hey, guess what? We'll take Bobby Portis out of your hand with his TPE in a couple seconds, or you give us some seconds. So you be like the third team in that opportunity, right?
Facilitating. Yeah, that's what OG unnamed YouTube user just said.
Oh, I see. Great. OG's on it. Smelly says Portis's defense has been ass 5th percentile defensive EPM. If you're out there with between Stu and Ron, does it matter that much what your defense is like? Ron, Javante, and Dennis are the other 4 players on the floor. Not that huge a deal in the second unit.
That's also large. That is also a large bench. So that's interesting. And yeah, just a guy who can knock it down and just be a body.
Mm-hmm. So like he's up there for us. I think he fits a need. Who knows for you guys? But like I get it. Defense has been bad, but he feels some needs for this team. Number 8, I am at 9. You had him at 6. The reason I'm at 9 is because of cost. The reason you had him at 6 is because he's the boss. It's Max Christie, baby. Spartan, Michigan State, former Lake Show castaway Max Christie, who is Max Christie this year, just balling out, dude.
Like making a convert out of me. I
love 3 balls, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Right? It's all 3.
Yeah, the Trinity, the Holy Trinity. Yeah, that I'll say. Yeah, I love Max Christie. The only thing is, why would they trade him?
Right.
But I love him. I think he could start on our team and be an amazing 3-and-D guard who, I think he has a pretty good assist to turnover ratio. So I just think he would slot right in. I think he's 6'5" too. Mm-hmm. So he still got some size to him, even though he's a little skinny. But yeah, I'm just a fan. I have some Lakers friends out here and they were excited about him, and he got shipped in the AD Luka Doncic trade. But he's been really good. He's crazy efficient and bit of a defensive specialist as well. So
yeah, he hit 8 threes in the first half the other day. Pretty nuts. OG says that he's in on Bobby if Stu signs off and doesn't beat his ass. I don't think there's real bad blood. I think there's on-court bad blood. I've had this with plenty of players in rec ball. Like when I'm playing against them, and this is in the past, obviously I don't still play ball, but like I'd have plenty of players where we would beef and then we end up with the same team and it was great chemistry because we're going for the same thing. You're out there for your team. You rep for your team.
There you go. If Harry can do it, Bobby and Stu can do it. So that translates.
He says you guys are high on Max for good reason, but high if you think you can get him for less than a few first.
I know.
That's why
we said that. We said that.
The cost would be crazy. It would be crazy. And so, like, let's say you have to give up 3 firsts for Max Christie.
That's not.
Do it.
Nobody's talking about that.
You can't do it.
Nobody's talking. Wait, you think it would cost a few firsts?
I think it would cost multiple.
You don't think Ivy, a first and change, could get you? Damn.
I really don't. I think Ivy and 2 firsts, maybe.
That's too much.
That's too much. That's why he was so low on my list. 9 is so low. Okay. But like he's a multiple first player because he fits into this thing of good contract, not a defensive liability.
Every team would be glad to have
exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
Players like this require draft picks. That's what people give up draft picks for. That's what people can demand draft picks for. Too unprotected. Lordy. So now we are on to number 7. And this was our biggest disparity in players. I was so much lower than you were on this guy. And I don't even think this guy's a bad player. But number 7 on our list would be number 3 if Mickey had his way. And that's Coby White.
Coby. I just the creator thing and the second scorer, like he's a guy who can give you 20 points in a game, create shots for others. He's not a floor general exactly, but he is a bucket when healthy. Obviously it's been a rough season, but I also read an article today, rumors that it sounds like the Bulls are looking to buy and compete. So maybe this
you've read history.
I mean, yeah, the track record would show that they're really high on their squad, and really high on God knows what else. Because what are we talking about? I texted my Chicago friends. What are we doing, fellas?
They don't know, but they know they're doing the same thing that they're always doing.
Right? No, it's business as usual. But I think he could fill a need. He's not shot it great this season, so maybe they would want to sell low for some reason, or maybe they like Ivy. So that would be part of the trade for me. He's also fits the TPE.
He does.
So, like 1 first for, is he expiring?
He's expiring.
So, I mean, it would suck to pay for a rental, but if you like him, you could bring him back on a deal. But he is a bad defender. I will agree with that. But the hope is that we could insulate him. And that's part of my pitch.
He would get insulated for sure. I mean, the way Duncan's getting insulated right now, right? Like, it's just
plus he moves. He's running around constantly, and he draws gravity, so that's part of it.
To me, he just like turns it over a fair share as well. Ooh. Like he does a little turnover. He can be like your second scorer, but like he's gonna want to get paid next year. So I don't know how much I want to pay a guy like that all that much. He's not even the bull that I'd most like to have on this team. I think like if you're signing him and expecting to be your second star, you're going to be a little underwhelmed, right? And he's not going to require second star money, but he's going to ask for like 30.
But if you could get him for 25, if you could do like you don't want to pay 25 for Coby White.
I don't think I'd get him for 25. And like on top of that, 25 and he might go to the bench. That's an expensive bench player to me. You pay him 20. You pay him 25. I guess you could ship him out. It's like the deal afterward. I don't know. I like Coby. He's at this weird cusp of potential and like ability that I don't think it's too low for the second star for the Pistons or second score for the Pistons and too high for a bench player.
No, I think you're right. The chat's with you. I'm swayed. I just want to win. I just want to win, but I don't know if he moves the needle enough. And I think it would be different if he had been having a better season and there was some sort of handshake deal like with Pascal. Yeah. But this isn't a guy you want to offer a ton of money to. And I think the Timberwolves also have expressed interest. So yeah, who knows?
We'll see what the bidding is like for that. I do want to say Smelly Garage Fluid says can't rely on the rest of the team to make up for trash defenders. If you mix in some poop with chocolate ice cream, you don't have ice cream anymore. You have nasty poop a nasty poop cream concoction. Big on the olfactory system there for smell.
Yeah, that's on brand for the handle. That is, and it's a visceral image, and I appreciate that. And
I can see the Ren and Stimpy green like
fume lines
coming up. Yeah, with the foghorn sound effect coming off. So like, and again, I think Trajan has shown that he really values defense, unless like the three ball is a real big skill of yours. And he only did that with one player, and that one player was Duncan Robinson to like fill this need. So,
and he is a volume shooter. He is the only volume shooter. So, all right, I'll concede. I might have been a little high on Coby.
It's all good. I still think he's a good player, and I wouldn't hate if he was on the team. Again, he's in the range of players I'd be like, I can live with it. It's just, it wouldn't be my favorite move, I don't think. All right. So that was number 7. Number 6, we were 6 and 7 on. And for number 6, we both like this guy. We've both talked about this guy a lot.
Name. It's controversial.
It is a controversial name for whatever reason. This is our second Miami Heat guy. It's Andrew Wiggins, Maple Jordan out here. Been in the league for a minute. A guy who keeps to himself. Is a very big family man, but a very private guy. People were concerned about his like effort and like his being checked out. He went through his dad's death, dog. He went through his dad's death.
Low motor. Low motor, doesn't have the heart of a champion, even though he was almost finals MVP.
Right. Watch this guy play. Like, he's good. He's a good defender. He's a good 3-point shooter. He can create. He's great on the break.
Can drive. Yeah.
I know he's 31. Like, he's an older guy, but like he's got a $30 million year or $30 million player option next year. You could potentially negotiate, get that for a little bit cheaper if you want to keep him in for the long term. And he's got championship experience. I believe very much in Andrew Wiggins. Every game I've watched him play, he's been a big, hard hustle guy. So I don't know where that knock comes from. You Canadian haters? Mickey, tell me about Wiggy a little bit.
Yeah, I just think he fills a position of need. I think you could move Tobias to the bench, which I don't know if the organization really wants to do that. I don't know if Tobias would be cool with that, but he would cook benches. He would just destroy bench players. I think it was OG who was saying earlier that he loves watching the back down fades. I do too when they fall. Sometimes I feel like it really slows down the offense and it's a lot of guys standing around watching, and he is a professional scorer and he's really good at knocking him down. And I'm not saying he shouldn't attack a mismatch, but I do think Wiggins could attack with more pace and has more in his bag than that back down, turnaround, and the corner 3. So I think Wiggins is basically a 3-level scorer who can defend and create. So that we're getting high up. We're getting high up. I really like him.
And we keep talking about
a decent contract, by the way, too.
Yeah, it's like 27 mil or something this year, and then so and Miami's not in a place where you have to match salary. You don't have to match salary with them. So you could do something like Karras and potentially Ivy and maybe Sasser for like Wiggins, right?
I would do that. I would do that. As other people have brought up that I've talked to online and elsewhere, Miami doesn't like to sell a whole lot. They like to compete.
Yeah.
They've got Spo, they've got Pat Riley, they like to go for it. So
but they might also like to go for Giannis. So they might want a pick for Wiggins. And I think I'd give up a pick for Wiggins. Like give up one first round pick.
I would trade
Wiggins.
Ivy, Karras, Sasser, and a pick for Wiggins. And
right.
I think it stops there.
And then maybe you could use the TP and absorb somebody else from their team. That way you can get like
Return of the Tech.
Return of the Tech. I wouldn't hate it. Like not that
he would get a lot of minutes, but
come back here. Yeah. It'd be something to think about. I think it'd be something to think about. And like with the idea of Tobias on the second unit, he would absolutely cook the second unit. And the second unit needs somebody who can score. They need somebody who can reliably score out there. And if Tobias can back down first lines the way he's backing the first lines down, imagine what he'll do to back up force.
Let him feast, and he can still get minutes. So. For those of you, and I'm not saying there's a bunch of people in the chat who've been like, oh, Wiggins stinks, I hate him. But I do know some people aren't fans and they think he's mid or whatever. Would he come on this team and immediately be the best teammate that Cade has ever had?
Yes. I think the answer is
I think so too.
So OG says, you can't deny that Wiggins has been very up and down in terms of effort throughout his career. I thought he was going to be a star, but he doesn't really have that dog in him. He was amazing in the chip. He was, and I think he's been good for the Heat. And like, I don't know how far down it's been with the like. So he got traded to Minnesota, and I think he was really good in Minnesota, right? And then he went to was it Golden State right after that? Was that the next squad?
Was he drafted in Minnesota?
He was drafted by the Cavaliers, and then he got traded to Minnesota for Kevin Love almost immediately.
Oh,
right,
as the number one pick. Yeah.
And then I think he went to Golden State after that, and now he's in Miami. The up and down, the downs haven't been so bad to me, and the ups have been so great. And again, like I brought this up last time we talked about him, but the dunks in the fucking championship in the playoff runs are so insane. Like I just love a dunker. He's a 3-and-D 4. He's a 3-and-D 4 who can
drive, who can put it on the deck, and
yeah.
And so, I haven't watched a ton of Andrew Wiggins like on every team he's ever been on or anything, but when you say his motor has been inconsistent, like I'm just curious what you mean, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just curious because his stats are pretty consistent, and I understand there's more than just the stat sheet, but he points and a whole bunch of other shit, like pretty much everywhere he's been. So I do think there's some slander that he gets that's like a little like yes, he had some personal reasons and stuff, but like I don't think that's been like, except for when his dad died. Was there a bunch more of that? And like I'm asking, I'm not like poking holes in your argument.
The last thing I'm going to say about his perception too is like he was perceived to be like the next. They called him Maple Jordan because they thought he was going to be like the next great, and he didn't become the next great, but he still is great. You know what I mean? He's not like, I don't think he's like a Hall of Famer or anything, but
or at least very good.
He's an awesome player, and I do think he'd be the best teammate that Cade has had. Well, with the exception of maybe Duren. Duren's pretty good, but like I don't know, like Duren could be that, but I think Wiggins has accomplished so much and really is that guy. And Wiggins he's number 6 on our list. Number 5 on our list, number 5 for us guys is Keon Ellis. And this is a pretty big gap too. I had him at 4, you had him at 9. But he played pretty well in that Sacramento game. And like, I've pined for Keon Ellis for quite some time. Everybody in the NBA seems to be pining for him. He's a 3-and-D 2. He's having a down year shooting wise, but every other year he shot it above 40% from 3 on pretty good volume, like 6 3-point attempts a game. I thought he showed some like pretty good juice in the game against the Pistons, like not just catch and shoot, but like some good movement as well. I'd be pretty pumped to get him on this team because if he's shooting threes and he can play defense, you can put him on the first unit or the second unit, and you can sign him for like, I don't know what type of contract next year, maybe like $12 million, maybe like $13 million for the next few years and see what you have out of this young kid. How do you feel about Keon?
I know you've had real estate on Ellis Island for a while now, but
I'm
I
checking all
actually,
the immigrants in, man.
yeah,
Fuck ICE
yeah,
once
fuck
again.
yeah,
Yeah.
fuck yeah. Snow good, ice bad. And snow, even the snow, from what I hear, it sounds like it's pretty rough. But I didn't think the defense looked so amazing against the Pistons. I do think that contest where he fouled, I forget who, was it Tobias who shot 3 free throws? He fouled someone while taking a 3. It was like they challenged it and it didn't go. They didn't win, but I don't know. I just didn't think the defense looked so great, but I also don't think the cost would be that high. So I'm here for it. But I'm curious because I know you're such a fan. What role is he starting at the 2?
Potentially. Like it's potential. I'd think about it because it does up your defensive ceiling. He's a better defender than Duncan, like straight up.
Oh,
He's
no question about that. There's no
he's-
question about that. But he's not the volume shooter that Duncan is.
I mean,
He doesn't have the gravity.
He's shooting 6 3-pointers to Duncan's 8, right? So you
Okay.
like, and you put him in the role that he's playing, right? Where he's like a second unit guy. So you could start him. You could ask him to shoot a few more. So there is that.
Yeah.
Or against you could be in the second unit. Again, like the cost is nothing. His contract is like nothing. And he's young. So you can see if maybe he gets a little bit more out of it than what he did. And while you might not have been impressed by the defense, I think he had like 4 stocks in the last game.
Did he?
He's way up there in deflections. Let me check out what his actual stats were in this game. Keon Ellis.
He had no stocks against the Pistons.
No, that can't be right.
It is. He had 14 points.
Oh, he did have no stocks.
And
it was
a turnover
Malik Monk.
and no assists.
Malik Monk had 4 stocks.
Yeah, Malik's a creator. Malik looks good. But no, he didn't do much else either. He fouled a couple times and turned the ball over. Whether you agree with that foul or not is up for debate. But when you say he costs nothing, what do you mean exactly?
Like his contract isn't.
No. But I thought you meant to get him.
No, and even to get him. So like Ibrahim in the chat says, or it was OG. OG says, what are you giving up to get Keon? Sasser and how many seconds? Who cares? Like with the seconds. In all honesty, we have a dozen second-round picks to do stuff with. Like you got to use them. Just use these picks. Would you trade Ivy for Keon? No, I would not. I wouldn't do it straight up because I believe Ivy has a higher ceiling than Keon Ellis does. Even though I am very worried about Ivy's turnovers and Ivy's defense. I think those are both like very prohibitive things. I guess I would think about it, but I think you could get more for Ivy than Keon specifically.
You could, couldn't you also do the TPE? Doesn't he fit in that?
Yeah. He's making like, again, like, I don't know how many million, but it's not
TPE in seconds. They're not treating him like a player they value. You know, I know they want a first, but would you give up first? Because that's like apparently the asking price.
He's not a first. Not a first player.
But he's a handful of seconds.
Yeah, a handful of seconds for sure. So there is that, and maybe Sasser. If you're not going to play Sasser, maybe Sasser. Even though I think Sasser's also good, but Keon's bigger.
And in theory, his defense is better.
Right. All right. Let's move on to our number 4 guy, and I've seen his name all up and down the chat when we brought up Coby White and before. I don't remember who the other name we were talking about, Malik Monk maybe, but I had him at 5. You had him at 5. It is Ayo Dosunmu.
Ayo, I like Ayo. Yeah, no, he's a really good guard who is defensive minded and has been shooting that thing.
Oh yeah,
he's been really efficient. And he can pass too. Like he's kind of just a do everything. Would he start for you? Would Ayo start, or would he be your little energy guy off the bench?
I think I'd have him off the bench, to be honest, because like I love Duncan's volume 3s out there, and I don't think Ayo is like a volume 3 guy. And I do think the second unit could use like some spark score. So you could stagger. Like I do think you could like bring Ayo in sometimes, like to bring Danis in. But like I'm so for having him on the team. He's great on the break. He doesn't turn the ball over very much. The 3-point shot has been super nuts this year.
Youngish, right?
Yeah, he's still a youngish player, but I think he's like later 20s, or at least back.
Okay,
20s.
like 27 or 20. Yeah,
I think so. Let me look up how old Ayo is. But he just, when I watch him play against the Pistons, I'm like, this guy plays like a friggin' Piston.
He plays hard. Yeah.
So he's 26 years old. So
that's not bad.
It's not bad. It's really not. That's Paul Reed age.
He's also in a crowded backcourt, right now. Giddey needs a lot of usage. Trey Jones has played a lot. Javon Carter is another guy they have. So I have the messages up that you sent me from Keith Smith. Should we talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, on Ayo from Keith Smith. If the Pistons were to trade for him, they would not be able to offer more than a 3-year extension with 20% raises, since it would fall within the extended trade parameters, which is essentially what happened with Laravia. So
no, it's not. But it's not what happened with Laravia. That's I got some clarification afterward. But the first part of that's true. So I asked that also on the front office show to Keith, and he clarified, because I asked if it was like the Laravia thing. And he said it's not at all like the Lauri thing. That's just for the extension. So he could enter free agency, and then you could give him whatever you wanted to give him regardless. So you're not screwed as far as like.
Okay, so it's not like you can only offer him a little bit. Okay, because
you just can't extend him.
Because I would be stoked if we got Ayo, and we're getting higher up. We're getting higher up.
Yeah,
so.
He's our top 4, and I think realistically he's actually more realistic than our next option. But like Ayo's up there for me. I think it's just what. And so with Ayo, I think Richard's saying if he's great, Detroit just gets outbid. They could get outbid, but Detroit could also bid whatever anybody else is going to bid. Ayo's not going to extend. That's exactly right. Ayo's just not going to extend. So if you're going to trade for him, you could potentially trade for him and say like, hey man, we're going to trade for you. We really want you to stick with us. Let's talk about a deal. But I don't think that happens. So it's like a little bit of a risk. But he's a great player, and it'd be very fun to have him on this team.
Thank you for clearing that up, because I was unclear about the contract stuff.
I mean, obviously, so was I. I had to ask Keith twice about it. So
it's complicated. It's complicated stuff.
I did the thing that drives my wife crazy, which is continue to ask questions when she thinks she's already answered the question.
Well, Keith is down with it, so that's always good.
He believes in magic out in Orlando. So now we are on to our third one, and I think Richard brought up 2 names. No, Richard, we are not going to have AD. We're not going to have Cat on here. Hilarious, very funny, very amusing. It would great. You would have Ayo's bird rights as well. That is true. But our number 3 guy, my 3, your 4, Donte DiVincenzo. Mickey, tell me why.
Big Ragu. He's expiring. Just like, I hate Donte DiVincenzo, because I still remember that Knicks game back when he was a Knick, when he like tackled the SAR and they didn't call it. It was a crazy no call. But he's a dog, and I would love him if he was on our team, and he shoots the 3 ball like, whoa. Could immediately come in and start for us and send Duncan to the bench, and just would be huge. Or if you like Duncan's size, he could be an energy guy off the bench, but I think he would be great starting. He's got the defense. He's fucking crazy. He's nuts. The question here is, why would Minnesota ship him?
So I do want to clarify. It's not quite expiring. He's expiring next year. This year he's making like $12 million. Next year he's making $12.5 million. He is turning 30 next year. So that's
thank you. Yes, I was looking too early. Yep.
The only way Minnesota would trade him, I think, is if they made a move for a bigger player and they like included him in there. Like if there was part of like some 3 team trade. Hey Joe Baby, welcome to the chat. He says utilize Dante's general hooliganism for the common good. Talk about all about the action, right? Like bring that action.
If you got Donte and Portis, how crazy would that be?
It would be nuts on this team. And would anybody want to beat New York more than Donte would? Like, I just think he fits this team so well. Like it'd be so great to have him here. I loved him when he was on Villanova. I thought like he had a great run with them, and like I kind of liked him on every team he's played for. I didn't love the tackle, but I don't hate him for the tackle as much as I hate the refs for not calling that tackle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. That right. No, it was aggressive play, and like I said, you hate him when he's not on your team, but you love him. You love him when he is.
Right.
Yeah.
And OG says, why is the 6 seed trading a starter? And again, the only reason would be is if they made a much bigger move and they had to send salary out to do so.
They are strapped. And
I think they're second apron, so they have to match salary.
One thing I threw out that's probably stupid is like, could you take on Mike Conley's money and not play him? Like if they needed that to happen, like So, just trying to think about what would sweeten the deal for them if they were trying to go get a Coby or, like someone even better.
Right. It'd be nice. Like, I don't think this is a likely trade candidate. Like, I think this is one of the more unlikely trade candidates we've had. And we haven't heard any rumors about him either. But
I think he's played really well with Ant too,
right.
by the way. So
I just think player archetype wise, and like, there are a lot of factors he'd be great on this team. So if in some weird world it were to happen, that'd be great. Smelly Garage Fluid says, how often do trade deadline moves make a difference for finals winning teams? Trade deadline moves are often just minor adjustments with low overall impact. I mean, that's probably true. I'm not much of a historian outside of like the Rasheed Wallace one. I
was just going to say, you could go back to 2004 and then that is like the massive difference. But I mean, I do think it'll be a more marginal move. Like we're getting up into some like medium large names here. But I do think the way that the Pistons are playing definitely merits like a bump in scoring and or shooting.
Right.
So
we'll move on from this fantasy land one into another couple fantasy land ones. But these two, Mickey and I were relying on these were our 1s and 2 together. At least there's been talk about this, at least one of these. And our number 2 is the biggest name on this list. It is Trey Murphy III. And I mean, we don't have to last too long on this because we've talked we're at an hour and 38 in this podcast right now.
Yeah,
we're almost at game time here.
It's almost time for the game. Yeah, we've been going.
But like the reason he's number 2 for us is because he fits every need, right? He shoots, he defends, he's on a great contract, he's young, like he hits free throws. The fit is awesome, and he's a Trajan guy.
He's not a creator, like he's not a passer, like he's not he's just such a good knockdown shooter. He plays decent defense, and he's fucking huge. He's like 6'8". Yeah. Like it's crazy.
In the aforementioned San Antonio Spurs Pelicans game I was talking about, he hit a couple of huge, very tough shots in the final couple minutes, and I was like, man, this guy.
He's also on a wonky team with no point guard,
right.
So I just, I understand some of the criticisms. We saw it against Detroit, but I definitely think he would thrive with Cade as a backcourt mate. I've thought it since we saw those summer run videos from like 3 years ago where they were playing a little pickup together. But yeah, I understand 3 picks is a lot for a lot of people. That's probably what it would cost, right?
Yeah, most likely.
Like
maybe more, in all honesty, but like,
yeah, yep. But the contract is
it's so good. The contract is so good. Like, I think, and I think I've said this before, but I think the contract alone is like worth the trade. And he's good. Smelly says Pistons have a 11-ish% chance to win the finals according to multiple advanced predictive metrics. Making a move on the margins at the cost of future value might get you 12%. I don't think that's worth it. I mean, that's just predictive stuff on top of it. Like, who knows? If you see a weakness on this team, you probably want to address that weakness. OG says he's definitely in on TM3, but he wouldn't trade all the picks. I don't know what all the picks is. He doesn't think he's the final piece.
He wouldn't trade 3. He wouldn't trade.
You wouldn't trade 3.
TM3, yeah.
TM3. Probably 4 picks. You wouldn't do 4 picks.
I
would think about it. I would really think about it.
Harry would think about 4. I would definitely do 3. He's not a second creator, but he is I think on the Pistons, he would average 20 points per game, if not more.
Yeah. And again, the contract is insane. Like, it's just
contract is great. And it enables you to pay Duran, Asar, see what happens with Ron. By that time, his contract's probably close to wrapping up. So if you're like, hey, this isn't working out, OG would do 3.
So we all agree that the cost is high. And so now let's just wrap up with our number 1. And this one was named by Bryce Simon. He didn't say that there was any rumors about this. He just said this would be like the sneaky name that he would love. If someone were to like bring it up and he thinks it fits. And Mickey, we talked about this name a while ago. We behind closed doors, I believe.
Off pod.
We're doing some
in the cover of night.
Once he took off the cape of your lovely Clippers and he donned the Heat. This
so
is our
lovely
3rd Heat player on the list. It's Norm Powell. We both had him at number 1, and it's not just because he torched the Pistons. It's not just because he's maybe going to be an all-star this year. Who knows? It's because this dude would immediately go into the starting role. He can get his own bucket. He is lights out from three. He's thrived on every team he's played on. He's a little bit older. He's on an expiring. So like you figure out that deal with him at the end of this year. I think he's got a player option as well. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe he's a UFA. It's one of the
No,
two.
he's a UFA next year. But this year he's making 20 mil. So, in theory, it would probably be like Karis Ivy and a pick.
Karis Ivy 1 first. If that's the
so
cost,
it is a 1-pick rental, and then maybe you get a handshake deal to like bring him for 2 years, pay him till he's 35, 36, maybe a three-year deal. Like, I mean, he's averaging like 24 points or something. Like he's
shooting
up
crazy.
True 3-level scorer, not a good defender, but he's fast and he's moving constantly and he's got gravity.
He gets steals. He's averaging over a steal.
He does get steals, and he's just a gamer. Like if you watch him play, he's so much fun to watch. The Clippers have been oft hurt, and with Kawhi and PG back when PG was a Clipper, he had a ton of run, and he was hugely responsible for them getting as far as they did when they did.
You're telling me that this dude wouldn't want it so friggin' bad, like so friggin' bad. You wouldn't have to give up Tobias. You get him. You've got a couple of like serious veterans with some serious juice on this team with the young guys doing their thing. Now, not all the pressure's on Cade to get all the buckets. Norm can really get the buckets. Like he's the name to me, even though there haven't been any rumors about it, that makes the most sense as far as what he could do on the floor, what he would bring to this team, the whole contract situation, what the cost would be, and what Miami might be looking to do, considering Miami's like right at that play-in, like 6-spot level and potentially in on this Giannis mix. So that's where I stand. And I think, Mickey, that's where you stand as well. Right?
Yeah. On a like tiny scale, a version of the Siakam deal really makes sense to me, where like our timeline is different than Miami. We're competing now. Smelly, I hear the metrics, but I'm also like, if you bring a guy like that in, I think that moves us more than a percentage point when you just like factor in, and this is eye test, this is vibes, but it is so hard for us to score the fucking basketball sometimes.
Yeah.
And with a guy like that, not only can he get you some, but his gravity can get other guys some. And I think he would just be a really good influence on the team. I think he'd be a solid vet, and they probably want to get some value out of him. Like if the Heat have any chance to compete this year or like in the future, I don't think it's going to be because of Norm Powell. So yeah, I don't think he's part of their long-term plans. So
I agree. And plus, like I think part of the reason that 3 players on our list are from the Miami Heat that we have is, I know there's so much talk about Heat culture, is like, and it's like almost a punchline, right? Like Heat culture this, Heat culture that. Culture matters. Like the Pistons have a culture. Like getting one of these players that understand that, and they clearly all understand that. And you're like, okay, there's a new culture here. It's not that dissimilar from what Miami's culture is. Go with it.